Here we are again. Another exciting video that is going to expose the errors of syncretism and blended religions and ideas that come from outside Scripture. This is about a tract called Food for Thought. I'll show you a picture of it here. There it is, Food for Thought. And it has 4 pages, as usual. And you can see the carcasses you abominate, and all the things that Yahuwah has in mind for us. And it's his opinion, of course, that matters. And we have a toxic environment, and Yahuwah had created certain creatures that we consider unclean because they're the cleanup crew. You know, they clean up the toxins from dead animals, and they eat the things in the sand that drift down from the ocean, the dead matter, and we're told, do not eat that, and do not touch it if it's dead. You know, pigs, they're a cleanup crew. That's what they are. And they load the toxins in their body. Anyway, this tract will explain all that to you, and it'll give you Yahuwah's word. And he's going to tell you what's going to happen to people that disobey this. This excitement that people get over lobsters and clams and eating pigs and things like that, and eating other kinds of animals like dogs and cats, and you know, it's just crazy. They'll eat anything. Eating unclean will get you snatched away in the fire that's coming. He's going to clean the earth of the weeds and the false teachings, and he has to do away with the people that are carrying that forward and punish those that are causing his earth to be defiled, because we're the highest part of his creation, and if we're taught to defile ourselves by our teaching authorities, then they're going to suffer for that, the people that listen to those people, because they're not studying. They're just believing everything they're told. And syncretism is very much involved in this. Voodoo, or Vodou, whatever you want to call it, is a blend itself. And it is joined at the hip with Roman Catholicism, because voodoo, I'm going to use the popular pronunciation, is actually a blend of various animalistic and it's divination, which are actually the praying to the dead and praying to spirits that you believe are around you that are able to help you for whatever reason. Praying to ancestors and things like that. West Africa and, basically a lot of the things that drifted into the Haitian community were this blend of Roman Catholicism and this animalistic, worship. So we're going to dive into this, and I'm going to shift the screen around, and we're going to see what we can find out. And you can watch this video again and again and again and back it up and repeat whatever you see on the screen. So hang on, here it comes. Okay then, here we are. We're thinking about dogs and cats aren't food, but the article Food for Thought is written from the perspective of our Creator's opinion. His opinion matters, and is an opinion shared by this author. It's not popular with those involved with voodoo or most sects of Christianity. They believe their teachers have permitted them to eat whatever they see. And that's because they have inserted a word, or actually a sentence, into the scriptures at Mark 7, that he thus declared all foods clean. Well, the secret is that sentence wasn't there. It was a marginal note brought in by a monk somewhere along the line in the Middle Ages. But it's not authentic. It's put in parentheses in the King James Version, as are all other texts that are added texts. So we know it's parenthetical. And there's no way that Yahuwah changes his mind about what we can eat, because if he declared all foods clean, as he did, the text doesn't actually say that at Mark 7 because they inserted it. And the other translations are based on the King James Version. It's not in the Latin Vulgate. That's something that the King James Version was based on almost verbatim. But the NASB, the NIV, and almost all other Christian translations have inserted this phrase, but it's not food to start with. So if you're not given food that's set apart by the Word, then it's not food. There's that. So if it's not food, we're not supposed to eat it. It's toxic. In fact, we're to abominate that animal in their carcasses. Now, this free 4-page tract can be downloaded in its fullness at torazone.net. But I'm only going to show you the first page today, and that way you'll get the idea of what we're talking about. This is the top of it. What's food and what's not food? Like voodoo, we have to break the trance. Dogs and cats aren't food. Society exists as in an order. It's the world order, and it's called clergy, nobility, and laity. And in the middle are dark ages from 500 CE through 1500 CE. Catholic bishops were upset by the low educational level of the parish priests. So each cathedral, which actually is a word that means bishop's throne, set up a cathedral school. At first they educated the clergy, but later they began to accept the children of the nobility to train them for high office in the circus and government. Today's seminaries have evolved from the medieval cathedral schools. Now don't worry, we're going to get to the doctrine. It's a little bit on food in just a moment. I'm just setting you up so that you can understand how the power of this teaching authority had become. Jesuit prep schools are now worldwide. Their ideas are heard coming out of the mouths of every pastor, and they use casuistry and equivocation to explain conflicts in their laity that they may find in Scripture. Your common person needs to be responded to when they come into the clergy and ask them questions. So they had to basically come up with answers. They're mystagogues, and they use replacement theology, and they claim to be spiritual Israel. Like, what's that? Spiritual Israel. To explain why they have nothing in common with any behavior seen in Scripture. They worship on the day of the sun and eat swine. Who are they obeying? Now we're going to split it up into 2 paragraphs. What is given by Yahuwah to be our food? Can we just eat whatever we choose, doing whatever seems right in our own eyes? There are basic principles that we learn from Scripture, and they don't change because Yahuwah does not alter the words that have gone forth from his mouth. He despises now what he had despised before. When we trust what he tells us, we can be assured we are standing on a firm foundation together. The Jesuits' teachings about food were wiped from my mind when I read the prophet's words about the fire which would be used to punish mankind for disobedience in the end times on the day of Yahuwah. These prophecies describe the punishment of the rebellious and those eating unclean animals. That's at Yashayahu or Isaiah 66. Just read the last chapter of who they call Isaiah. The fire is not an abstraction. It's the real thing. Quote, "But the yom of Yahuwah shall come as a thief in the lilah, in which the shamayim shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with intense heat, and the arets and the works that are in it shall be burned up. Seeing all these are to be destroyed in this way, what kind of people ought you to be in set-apart behavior and reverence, looking for and hastening the coming of the Yom of Elohim, through which the Shamayim, that's the heavens, shall be destroyed, being set on fire. This is talking about our Earth's atmosphere. And the elements shall melt with intense heat, unquote. That's 2 Peter 3, 10 through 12. The end times are here, and Yahuwah is now giving us shepherds according to his heart to correct us. That's written at Yirmiyahu 3:15. Eating unclean will get you snatched. That's the rapture for you. Yeah. For look, Yahuwah comes with fire, and with his chariots, like a whirlwind, to render his displeasure with burning, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and his sword Yahuwah shall judge all flesh, and the slain of Yahuwah shall be many. Those who set themselves apart and cleanse themselves in the gardens, that would be farms, following after one in the midst, who eat the flesh of pigs, and the abomination, and the mouse, are snatched away together, declares Yahuwah. That's Yashayahu 66, 15 through 17. Those to be snatched away are the disobedient, who are taken out of the midst of the upright ones. Now that's the rapture. The upright ones, they don't get snatched away. The first to disappear or taken are the unrighteous, the ones not keeping his commandments. Camels and pigs are unclean to us, because an animal must have both of these traits. They must chew the cud and have a split hoof. Quote, their flesh you do not eat, and their carcasses you do not touch. They are unclean to you. These you do eat of all that are in the Mayim, in the waters. Anyone that has fins and scales in the Mayim, and in the Mayim or in the rivers, that you do eat. But all that have not fins and scales in the Yamim, that's waters, and in the rivers, all that move in the Mayim, or any living creature which is in the Mayim, they are an abomination to you. They are an abomination to you. Of their flesh you do not eat, and their carcasses you abominate. Unquote. Leviticus, or Uikra, 11, 8 through 11. We don't go near them or touch them. Well, that's the first page of the tract. Now, the other 3 pages will enlighten you even further on further details and his opinion. Thanks for watching this, and enjoy the ending, and we'll see you in the next exciting video. Bye.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pigs. And things that will get them burned. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pigs. And things that will get them burned. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pigs. And things that will get them burned. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pigs. And things that will get them burned.